Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk, where each Friday we delve into important issues and highlight amazing organizations and individuals who are making an impact on our community. I'm your host this week, Brenda Seiler. I'm a lifestyle contributing reporter for the Washington Informer, and I am filling in today for our publisher of the Washington Informer, Denise Rolark Barnes. On today's episode, we will have three incredible segments with guests who are going to share their knowledge and insights with us. First up is going to be Adam Carlesco. He's Assistant People's Counsel at the Office of the People's Counsel here in Washington, D.C. Adam is going to tell us about an upcoming two-day advocacy workshop about environmental justice that is specifically designed for DC high school students. It's going to be October 23rd and the 24th. I'm looking forward to that. After Adam, we're going to hear from Kiana Hargett, a licensed financial health coach at Firewater Group, LLC. Kiana will discuss with us Life Insurance Awareness Month, which is being observed this month of September. It is essential for all of us to have a solid plan in place to protect ourselves and our families. So as we navigate through life's uncertainties, having the proper coverage makes all the difference. And then we're going to hear from our Washington Informer reporter and recent Howard University graduate, Jada Ingleton. She's going to talk with us about Art All Night out of the mayor's office, Mayor Muriel Bowser's office. And there is going to be something really happening hot at Pennsylvania Avenue, East Main Street. And it's going to be all weekend. And Art All Night, by the way, is going to be in all of the wards for DC. But let's take a look at now the latest copy of the Washington Informer. And it's jam-packed, full of information. And it comes out every Thursday, which was yesterday. So if you can't find one in the newsstand, then what you want to do is go to it online at WashingtonInformer.com. And that would be WashingtonInformer.com. Also, in this week's episode of the paper is our millennial edition called The Bridge. And that's going to have all of the information that millennials might be interested in. So let's get started right now and make sure that you know that you can get to us. Let's Talk via Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, Nextdoor, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you go to YouTube, it's Washington Informer TV. Let's go and jump to, before we get to our first conversation, let's get a news update from Curtis Knowles.
This is Win TV News, bringing you the news that matters. Folks looking to get around DC on two wheels can no longer rely on riding a Lyft scooter, as they will no longer be available as of Tuesday of next week. You can still book a bike on the rideshare company's app through its partnership with Capital Bike Share, but Lyft scooters will be gone by next week. Lyft typically deploys around 2,000 scooters daily in D.C., according to the District Department of Transportation, with a spokesperson saying, quote, Lyft is voluntarily leaving D.C. before their permit ends in December and will not apply for a new permit with the DDOT. The Public Welfare Foundation in Northwest D.C. has launched the Future Formers campaign, a year-long initiative aimed at reshaping the U.S. criminal justice landscape. The initiative comes as the United States grapples with a staggering incarceration rate of nearly 2 million people, higher than any other independent democracy. According to the Prison Policy Initiative, the U.S. imprisons more individuals per capita than most nations, yet does not see corresponding improvements in safety. The Future Formers campaign emphasizes community-led, racially just solutions, with initiatives including employment assistance, housing support, and mental health services for formerly incarcerated individuals, alongside prevention programs focusing on community investment and self-empowerment. The Art All Night celebration is back from September 27th and 28th from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m., showcasing the district's wealth of diverse and captivating talent across all 8 wards. While there will be Art All Night programming throughout the city, activities in Ward 7 and 8 aim to inspire and engage guests with its rich history and culture, utilizing futuristic themes and arts education to underscore the creative economy flowing east of the river. Letitia Atkins, executive director of Pennsylvania Avenue East Main Street, commented saying, quote, "I think having art all night east of the river expands one's view of the District of Columbia, particularly if you never come here. Once you come here, you can see the beauty of our communities, you see the history of our communities, and you see the beauty of our people and our culture."
Thank you, Curtis, for always keeping us up to date in the news. We're going to bring on our first guest right now. We have Adam Carlesco, who is the Assistant People's Counsel in the Office of the People's Counsel. He is here to tell us about an exciting program for DC high school students. And welcome to Let's Talk, Adam.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us first, what is DC's Office of the People's Counsel?
So the Office of the People's Counsel is an independent agency of the DC government. We are statutorily mandated to, advocate on behalf of utility ratepayers in the district. So that would be anyone who pays a water bill, electric bill, a gas bill, and we are meant to ensure fair and affordable rates, as well as reliable service, and ensuring a level of sustainability to those utility services.
Well, I am excited about to hear you talk about the environmental justice program for DC high school students. How did this idea come about in order to bring high school students into the conversation?
So this has been part of an ongoing initiative spearheaded by the People's Counsel, Ms. Sandra Madhu-Fry. Last year, we had hosted a large forum at Catholic University for college and high school students to get involved in environmental issues as they relate to utility service. And this is a continuation of that sort of initiative as well. So it is up high on our list, and this is essentially us trying to do outreach to the community to get them involved and kind of cultivate the next generation of environmental advocates who will become the next People's Counsel, the next Public Service Commissioner, the next council member.
And this is going to take place Wednesday and Thursday, October 23rd and 24th.
Absolutely.
In the district. And so how were the students chosen to be in this program?
Yeah, we have a broad registration. We've been doing outreach to a number of public high schools and public charter schools within the district, specifically targeting social studies and science teachers, as well as any sort of academy directors within the high schools. So we're looking for motivated and interested students who see this as a potential career path to get involved in advocacy, law, environmental science, and any of those subclasses of professions.
What I'm interested in as well is, what is the program going to do? How are you taking these students through understanding environmental justice, and who are going to be some of the speakers that they will interact with?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a 2-day conference that we'll be hosting at our offices at OPC, right next to the White House, right above Old Ebbets Grill. And we have the capacity for about 35 to 40 students. And it will be structured over the course of 2 days. We have the first half of the day will be in-class presentations from a mix of OPC attorneys, as well as environmental and community advocates within the DC community, as well as we have a guest appearance by one of the public service commissioners and representatives from the Department of Energy and Environment. So they will be giving these presentations. And then for the second half of the day, after lunch, we will be opening it up to more of a hands-on practicum for students. So they can start to identify community issues, figure out the basics of community organizing, how to potentially identify gaps in regulation or legislation, and then how to draft that legislation and testify before public service commissioners, council members, federal agencies, and anything along those lines. So this would be essentially an advanced, AP civics workshop to a certain extent.
For those that are just tuning in, I'm speaking with Adam Carlesco. He is with the DC Office of the People's Counsel, and he is sharing information with us about an upcoming environmental justice 2-day workshop for DC high school students. Now, have all the students been picked and chosen? Can students still apply for it, just in case there's some listeners here that maybe would like to get their child in that program?
Students can absolutely enroll. We will have up on our website a registration for this. While we have spoken to some teachers about selecting students that they feel are most motivated and interested in the subject matter, if you are interested, sign up for registration. Seats are limited. We do have a spot for you to explain why you are interested. And based upon that, if we are above capacity, we'll be making decisions based upon what motivates you to get involved.
So these are students that are being oriented to be advocates on behalf of environmental justice. What will be the takeaways? For example, what is it that the students will be able to do? Is there an expectation that they will go back and motivate their classmates at their respective high schools to join forces, to do some things and send proposals or messages to different people that work in organizations that impact the environment? What are the takeaways for the kids?
Yeah, so we are hoping that there are many takeaways for them. So first and foremost would be understanding how to structure a campaign for social change. So that would be identifying targets, setting realistic goals and timelines, and figuring out where there are gaps in legislation or regulation to get those changed. Additionally, this would provide an opportunity for students from across all 8 wards to network and meet their other motivated students who are looking to get involved and make change within the district. This would also put them in contact with, advocates who are already engaged in the district, so they can plug directly into the adult pipeline for these sort of community engagement exercises and activities. And it would also allow them to, think more critically and be more prepared when it comes to them actually implementing those campaigns, when it comes to community organizing, when it comes to drafting legislation, when it comes to testifying before council. They'll be prepared to do that on their own after this workshop.
And I've neglected to ask right at the beginning, is this the first time that you all have done this for high school kids?
Specifically for high school students, yes. Last year we hosted a larger forum, which was a larger discussion that included college students and high school students as well. But that was more of a forum campaign. We wanted to provide a little bit of a smaller opportunity for students to come in, meet OPC attorneys, meet members of the commission, meet staff within DC government and other community organizers within the district. And one thing I will also note is, for the students that partake, we will be providing a certificate of completion that you can include in your college applications.
I'm so glad you mentioned college, because that was one of the things that I wanted to go to, because perhaps this will inform some of the students about what they might want to pursue when they go to college and as a career goal. Is that one of the outcomes that you hope will come about as a result of this 2-day workshop?
That's what I'm hoping for. When I was 17, I wish I had something like this so that I could have gotten on the path of becoming, attorney at OPC much earlier in the path. It wasn't until much later in my career that I was directed towards this avenue and learned the skills of community organizing. So this is something that we've heard from students that they wish that they'd been able to get involved with earlier.
I am loving this, because what you said about what they're going to learn, how to put together a campaign, how to put together a timeline, that's important, relevant information for whatever you do in life, whatever you're going to go to in your career. So these are wonderful skills that you are instilling in the students.
No, thank you. That's hopefully we are able to get that across to the students in the presentation.
Well, again, we want to put the information up on our screen about this upcoming workshop that the Office of the People's Counsel is giving for high school students, October 23rd and 24th. You can still register to take part in this workshop, and it's about preparing you to understand and do something through the work of environmental justice. You're going to meet public officials, policy officials that are involved in environmental issues. You're going to learn how to put together an advocacy campaign with a timeline, pull together all the people and the volunteers that you know that you feel are interested in this issue. So this is wonderful. And Adam, thank you so much for being with us today. Adam Carlesco, who is with the Office of the People's Counsel here in Washington, D.C. Thank you and have a great day.
And thank you.
And before we get to our next guest, I think it's important for us to acknowledge what's happening with the weather. Yeah, it's been gloomy all week. It's raining now, and we're getting repercussions from Helene, tropical storm Helene, because it's taken a really weird route coming up through the Gulf. And so many people in Florida and in Alabama and the Carolinas, they are suffering. I know that you have seen the pictures in the news about what is happening with this storm. It's a powerful storm. It is the third storm to hit Florida this year. You think that's about the climate change and the environment? It could be. But please send out positive thoughts and prayers to all who are affected and have found themselves with many, many flooded areas throughout the lower southern states. And we wish them well, and we pray for their health and safety. We're going to go to our next segment now. We're going to talk to Kiana Hargett. And this is so much of an important issue about life insurance. This month is the observance of Life Insurance Awareness Month. Kiana is going to talk to us about it. And so let's have a conversation with Kiana Hargett. She's a licensed financial health coach at Firewater Group, LLC. And we thank her for bringing her expertise to us today. Good afternoon, Kiana.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I am fine. I hope that you're doing well, because I think we have some listeners that are going to have a lot of questions, because what I have noticed in recent months, seems like more this year, there are so many life insurance commercials on TV.
Absolutely.
And on radio, and people may be confused. And we are so happy to have you here to work through the confusion. It is Life Insurance Awareness Month, September, and you can't overlook it in terms of making sure that you're taken care of and your family is taken care of. So what inspired you to be a licensed financial health coach, Kiana?
Well, I am from Washington, D.C., born and raised, and I grew up in the 80s and 90s when we had the growth of the middle class. But I was a part of a family that we didn't have a lot of money. So, there were some things that we couldn't get, but my mother made too much money. So there were other programs that we didn't qualify for. So then as I entered the working world, I realized there's some information that my mother didn't have that I need to figure out how this thing works and figure out if I can help my community and my friends.
Well, I remember growing up, my mother was telling us about she had taken out life insurance policies on me and my sister when we were in elementary school. Both my parents are from North Carolina. The policy was through North Carolina Mutual, a Black-owned insurance company, one of the leaders.
Yeah,
and so
my grandmother and my mother. Yep.
Oh my God. See, and that was the thing, but I didn't understand, why do I need this? And why would my mother take an insurance policy out on us as children when we're so young? It's about looking towards the future, I think.
So here's the thing. We all know our date of birth. We know the day we entered this earth, but none of us know the day we'll get called out of this earth. So you got to prepare ahead of time. And one of the misnomers is that I'm too young. I don't need to get life insurance. But if we look in the news today, we see a number of young people have gotten hurt, and not necessarily because they were in the wrong place or doing the wrong thing. They just, life happens. Life happens, and we don't know that date. So the best thing we can do is prepare ahead of time. And I believe one of the worst kinds of pain is for a parent to have to bury their own child, but have no resources to do it. And additionally, what if your child was hurt of some heinous act? Do you have enough funds to get an attorney? A life insurance policy would help you get through that grief without having to worry about how to pay for it.
Wow. And there are different types of insurance policies. So people need to be aware and educated on what is the best type of insurance policy for me or another family member. Can you talk us through the different types of insurance policies that are out there?
So I want to be very clear. There are only two kinds of life insurance. There's term and there's cash value. Cash value comes with a lot of different names, a lot of different products, but there's only two kinds, term and cash value. And what happens is we get kind of caught up in the different products, variable life, universal life, IUL, be your own bank, whole life, permanent life. But what you want to do is you want to sit down with a licensed professional whose intention is to make sure you have the best product for you, not just to sell you a product and get a commission. You want to know, when I purchase this product, can I call you later and ask some questions? How long do I have before, if, do I have 30 days to look through this policy to decide if I still want it? What are the additional riders and benefits? Also, people didn't think about this, and think tragic events like 9/11. Some companies have policies against paying out if there is an act of war. Can you imagine someone in your family was in the Twin Towers, is now deceased? Their policy had an act of war clause in it that the policy wouldn't pay out. And so now you got to figure out how to take care of your family members' final expenses, right? You want
Yes.
to know exactly what the restrictions are on that policy. COVID, we just finished COVID. Do you know there are a number of companies that did not pay out the death benefit because someone passed away from COVID? We
Oh
we
my
could
gosh.
we could not have imagined that happening, right? None of us know. So you want to know exactly what are the restrictions in your policy.
It's interesting that you should say that because I remember I was in a job with a colleague who was a volunteer. Her husband died um, in a car accident. It was just him in the car. Now, when they did the autopsy, he had a heart attack. So she was wrestling with, did the heart attack cause him to have the car accident, or did the car accident cause him to have the heart attack? And I was just stunned. So there was no settlement. I mean, I don't
Mm.
know how it was ever settled, but I know after a year, the insurance companies were still going back and forth
Right.
on that. So it's interesting when you brought up about if something happens to a family member, and you need that money in order to do whatever needs arrangements, whatever, but then it gets caught up in some
Right.
other stuff.
Right.
Um, in those instances, what is a better, is that the cash out? What is a better type of life insurance policy?
So, so that
Maybe, I don't know if you can respond to that accurately or not.
and so the kind of life insurance has nothing to do with that, but the restrictions on that, how the policy pays out, is what you want to know. You want to ask your agent, hey, if I get in a car accident and have a heart attack, is that, is it going to pay out no matter what? If I if I end up going overseas, we travel, does this policy pay out? You want to be able to answer that question definitively. You don't want your family trying to figure out, am I going to get all of it? Am I going to get a portion of it? So you need to sit down with an agent. You can call me or your trusted agent and ask the questions. If they hesitate, be skeptical. You
Okay.
you you asked me the question about the different kinds of life insurance. I want to make sure I'm clear. There are two types: term and cash value. Um, I don't typically recommend a cash value policy because it's a higher premium with a lower death benefit. If you need $1 million to cover your family in case you get called home early, a whole life policy or any other cash value policy is going to be quite expensive. We're trying to cover you during your earning years, right? We want to make sure that your family has enough so that they don't end up in a lower level of income or poverty, right?
Mhm.
So when we get sold these products and say, oh, you can be your own bank or you could take money out, never, ever combine those two things. When you buy car insurance, do you ask them, can I get money out? No. When you buy insurance for your cell phone, do you ask them, can I get money out? Absolutely not. So why is it that we want a life insurance policy to be a savings account? Why not just get a savings account, right? And we want to make sure if someone does choose that product, that they've explained it completely how it works. Most people don't know
Okay.
you have to borrow the money out of a cash value policy. There is no cash value for 2 to 5 years. So if you give me money on Monday and then you turn around Friday and you say, hey, I need my money back. And I look at you and say, there's no money. You're going to have a fit, right?
Yes.
You're going
Yes.
So because a cash value policy takes 2 to 5 years for any cash to actually accumulate, and then it's going to accumulate slow. So you're looking to take out 20, 30,000, and you call the insurance company and say, oh, you only have $1,000. You're going to be mad. I guarantee
Yeah.
you're going to be upset. Further, if you take out a loan and you don't pay it back and you pass away before it's paid back, what is owed to the insurance company plus the interest and fees comes out of the death benefit. So your
Right.
family has no idea what you really have.
Right. Well, that's what I was. One of the things you touched on was what I was alluding to with all these commercials that I've been seeing. They were saying your insurance policy may be worth more than you think, and it sounds like, to me, it sounds like they want you to take the value of your insurance policy and put it somewhere else. Am I confused about that, or where they're going to try to put it? Why are they worried about how much your policy is valued? And I think you touched on it a little bit.
So when you purchase a cash value policy, whole life, IUL, universal life, variable life, you're paying for two things. You're paying for death benefit and cash value. But when you pass away, your family only gets to choose one. They have to make a choice between the death benefit and the cash value. If they choose the cash value, who do you think gets the death benefit? Or if they choose the death benefit, who gets the cash value? The life insurance company keeps whatever you didn't choose. Is that
Okay.
fair? Is that fair?
So, folks, this is why we need someone like Kiana, who is a licensed financial health coach. This has been so enlightening. I feel like we need to have you come back again, and I'm sure there will be a time to do that, because it feels like we need to hear this every day. So, because people, need to know, and especially when I think about how long people are living longer lives now.
Yes.
So there are a lot of questions in terms of older people and in terms of their insurance coverage, death benefits, all of those things. Kiana Hargett, thank you so very much.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I'm going to be emailing you after this show, because
Please do.
I got questions. So thank you so very, very much what you shared with us today. And you have a good rest of the day. And I hope you stay dry out there with all this rain.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my head is exploding. Kiana gave us so much information about life insurance policies that I think there's an opportunity to do some follow up with her a little later on. But we're now going to shift gears. And I'm excited about what we're getting ready to go talk about next. Uh, it's art all night throughout all of DC, all 8 wards. This is a wonderful time for people to go out, enjoy our city as individuals, couples, families, however you want to go. It's an environment that Mayor Muriel Bowser has set up with this event. But we're going to hear about Art Out All Night here in the Pennsylvania Avenue, East Main Street area. And our interviewer for that section is going to be Jada Ingleton. Jada, come on down. And we're happy that you're with us. Jada just graduated from Howard University in May. Applause, applause, real applause. We're proud of you. but we're also so pleased to have you as one of our reporters at the Washington Informer. And let's hand it over to you as you talk about Art All Night in the Pennsylvania Avenue East Main Street area.
Thank you, Brenda. And hello, good afternoon, everyone. As Brenda said, I'm Jada Ingleton, and we're going to be diving into the heart of creativity with our special segment on Mayor Bowser's annual Art All Night. So this celebration of art and community is packed with incredible talent. And today I'm thrilled to introduce two amazing guests who not only contribute to, but embody the spirit of this vibrant night on Pennsylvania Avenue East. So first, I would like to welcome Letitia Atkins, executive director, of Pennsylvania Avenue East Main Street, or as we'll refer to it for the sake of breath control, PEMS, and Donjale Williams, a DMV-based performer of Broccoli City Festival. So welcome to Let's Talk, ladies. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you all for having me.
And good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
Of course. So as Brenda mentioned, Art All Night does span across all 8 wards, but today we're spotlighting how it gets down on the east of the river, particularly in Ward 7. So my first question is for you, Letitia. What do you want people who might be coming to Art All Night or east of the river for the first time to take away from this experience?
We have so much to offer here east of the river, especially here in Ward 7. Again, as I indicated, if you've never come over to the great Ward 7, and this is an opportunity for you to come over and experience our culture, some of the homegrown talent, the homegrown flavor, our businesses, to support those businesses, and some of our iconic venues such as the Anacostia River or our Francis Gregory Library and Miss Toya's and all of those other spaces that we hold near and dear here in Ward 7 along the Pennsylvania Avenue East corridor.
Thank you. So my next question is for both of you. Anyone can answer or one could jump in. So why is it important to have events like Art All Night or Broccoli City Fest, as you're a part of, Donjale, to showcase the artistry and creatives coming out of our communities?
Well, personally, for me, I think it's important because I think as artists in the DMV, we see a lot of artists coming from other places, other cities, and it really booms. Like New York had their boom, Atlanta had their boom. And so we've been kind of feeling left out of the conversation. And so these type of events kind of just help to highlight what's going on here and to show that there's a lot of talent here. And I think to break up the stereotype that all DMV music or all DC artists sound the same. And we very much don't. Everybody has their own style and their own, the thing that they offer to the industry in DC.
Thank you. Letitia, anything to add?
The artist said it the best. So how can we best support them by, acclimating or curating these types of events so that more of our artists, especially those who are from these areas, can shine. So.
Okay. So how do you guys feel that specifically speaks to the significance of the arts in the Black community?
I think representation. I think that's the biggest thing is the population that we have in DC and especially in Ward 7 are very, very musically inclined people and don't often have an outlet to let that out. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a lot of it. And not just music, but just arts in general and not having the places or the people, the network to be able to go and do these things and take advantage of the opportunities that are here.
Awesome. So my next question is for you, Donjale.
Okay.
Or some people who may not know Miss Punchline Princess.
Yes.
Please put respect on her name.
You better.
So where did the inspiration? I know that is also the name of your first mixtape, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Where did that inspiration come from?
Somebody actually, I say this in every interview that they ask me, somebody coined me the Punchline Princess. I did not name myself that. I cannot remember who it was, but somebody obviously very near and dear to me because I kept it, coined me the Punchline Princess. And I just kind of ran with it because it sounded so catchy. And it was fitting because I'm a lyricist and I am very keen on wordplay. So that's kind of where it started. And I just took it from there. I felt like the first mixtape needed to be called the Punchline Princess because it was so different. There was not really a theme of the first mixtape, but it came out with like wordplay and punchlines and bars. So I felt like it was only right to call it the Punchline Princess.
So everyone, make sure you tap in to see what that means.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you, so you were born in Chicago, but you are a DMV-based performer. So why did you decide to take your musical aspirations here to the DMV?
Well, I actually grew up in Chicago and the DMV. So I'm not like, Chicago is my hometown, but I've lived in Montgomery County, Charles County, DC. So I've gotten a good taste of the DMV. And I think it was just kind of hard for me to find an identity being from both places and having roots in both places. The DMV definitely helped me to have a desire to set myself apart, because it was the identity of the DMV, as I was saying earlier, hasn't been known to the world yet because the DMV's music scene is not super large. So I feel like that was a good way for me to get on, was because I am a very powerful lyricist. I am able to set myself apart from other artists in the area, and it's a little bit easier for me to get on as opposed to being from an area that is already so oversaturated with musicians.
That makes sense. Makes sense. So what are some of the highlights that attendees can look forward to from the PEMS installation, as well as your performance on the Broccoli City main stage?
So for the people who have already seen me perform, they know I always have dancers and they always come to kill it. So shout out to Amber and Asia early, because I know they're going to kill it tonight. I think that's one of the things that kind of lacks in performances is having like an actual show. Like, people come and rap and sing, but there's no background. So I definitely like having my dancers up there. I'm performing some new music that hasn't released yet, so that's really exciting. And yeah, this is another notch on my belt of big performances that I've done recently. Obviously, I did Broccoli City, which is why I have this opportunity, and I'm so grateful. I've performed at Songbird a few times. I performed at the Fillmore. So this is just aligning with what I feel is next to come in my career.
Thank you. And Letitia, what can we see from the PEMS installation?
I can't wait to check out Donjale's set for sure. But well, we'll definitely, because I just want to announce, normally we have our main stage outside, but the rain, Mother Nature, we could fight with and win a lot of battles, but you never win that with Mother Nature. So we are, out of an abundance of precaution, we want to make sure that we're keeping everyone safe and dry. So we're moving our outside stage to our inside venue. So now we have added to the lineup the Francis Gregory Library, where we will have EU and Black Alley performing at 3660 Alabama Avenue Southeast. That is a few blocks away from the main stage. We'll still have Miss Toya's activated, which will be our Creole Soul mix down. Alex Vaughn is going to be doing a meet and greet there, as well as her performance with Bacon Bear, I believe. And then we have also, we're going to have a whiskey and tequila tasting at one of our venues a few doors down from Miss Toya, Southern Creole. That address is 3216 Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast. So you can still come to the shops at Penn Branch. We're just not outside. Everything is moved inside. And then finally, we'll be at the DC Dream Center, where Donjale and all of the other Broccoli City Fest artists, our vendors, and some of our activations around. We have tons of activations for everyone. So bring the entire family out. We're just going to be inside. They will be at the DC Dream Center, which is located at 2826 Q Street Southeast. So we're still going strong, rain or shine. We're just moving things inside. So please come out and enjoy Art All Night tonight.
It's going to be a different experience having things indoors too. So I think it's something to look forward to no matter what. So my next question is, what do each of you want the future of DC arts and culture to look like? And how will your respective programs or the work that you're doing in the industry, how can that play into that?
Letitia, you want to kick it off?
Sure. All right. So, okay. So it's kind of a loaded question. So I think, well, what PEMS does is, one, we're not just an entertainment, type of organization, right? While placemaking has a big part of what we do for the creative economy, we support small businesses. And so economic development is the heart of what we do, especially, again, here along the Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast. So I think by having an event such as Art All Night, the mayor's vision is that You bring people out to the commercial quarters, which in turn will support the small businesses. So you see the connection between small business and the creative economy, which the creative economy are businesses along in the District of Columbia. So our role really is simply to continue to support those entrepreneurs, those businesses, to ensure that they have the small business technical assistance that they need, the funding, and the support to really grow and expand their businesses, their brands, their marketing beyond where they are, and to hopefully be able to catapult themselves and be a part of that creative economy as well here.
So for me, I'm hoping to use Letitia's services to help me get to where I need to be. But no, honestly, for me, I think that doing music and participating in networking is just helping me to build these connections with people who I'm going to need to utilize in the future. I am the program director at a childcare facility operated in Northeast DC. So I kind of run that business right now. So I think it's being an artist and kind of managing myself and doing everything on my own in my own personal career is allowing me to have some expertise in managing this business, running this business, assisting the owner, and just helping these kids to have some creativity throughout their day-to-day experience, as opposed to what it would normally be like in a school setting.
Excellent. And I do want to circle back to you, Letitia, because speaking more about PEMS, like Donjale here, you weren't born in the DMV, but the heart of your work, your passions have all been here, specifically in Ward 7. So can you tell me a little bit about your inspiration for coming to DC and giving back to that community?
Absolutely. I think when we originally met, I talked about how, my family were small business owners and entrepreneurs. And so coming up working in that environment, I always saw the value of, what small business can do for not only communities, but for individuals and their families. And so I'm a huge proponent and advocate for small businesses, working in the ecosystem of the District of Columbia to support these small businesses is so near and dear to me. And so from the time that I came here to work in my family's their janitorial service business, it was something that I always saw, again, the value of small business and what it can do to grow families and communities. And so I'm here for it and definitely love the work that we do along PEMS, supporting those 52 businesses along Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast from the Sousa Bridge to Southern Avenue. And so our goal is really to make sure those businesses not only are surviving, but are thriving and being competitive in the services that they offer to not only the residents here in Ward 7, but throughout the District of Columbia.
So as you've talked about, PEM's work does not start or end with Art All Night. Year round, you guys are doing these initiatives, trying to revitalize the community, preserve the culture, keep us competitive. So why is that important to have those types of organizations that are specifically trying to uplift neighborhoods in DC, particularly east of the river?
Absolutely. Well, it's all a part of community development, right? You need the organizations to support the community, and hopefully, again, build the community up with the stakeholders, the residents, and the talent and the business owners. Everyone has a role to play, and I think the organizations, the Marshall Heights Community Development Organization, we are programmed within that organization, and they've been doing that work for 42 years. And it's because of our founding leader, Lloyd Smith, who's iconic here in Ward 7, and our current leader, Babatunde Olayende, that we are able to really be at the cutting edge of providing these types of services to our communities. Because other than that, think about it, businesses would have to leave the community to go downtown to get these supports, whereas now they can get these supports right here in the community and working with people who know the community. Mm-hmm. Right, who know what the community struggles with, our challenges, and also our promising points as well, things where we know where we can grow and work together to build upon.
Thank you. Excellent. So Donjale, what message do you hope to send to aspiring artists from underrepresented communities through your music and performances? Oh, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. I just hope to send a message of just persistence and determination and consistency. It can be very discouraging, especially when you don't know a lot of people, you don't quite know where to go. But honestly, doing the groundwork and doing it by yourself can sometimes be the best way to go. So that way, when you do get to the point where you are working with other people and you are dealing with other people in a professional sense, you're not being worked over, and you know how to set the terms and set the boundaries for what you're comfortable with. I think a lot of artists tend to just, get drowned by the craziness of it all because they go into signing deals so quickly, or they want this money so fast. But it really is a day-by-day thing, and it really is important to be your own boss and to build the capital for yourself before you go and get anything from anybody else. So that's my biggest takeaway, and I think that's what I hope for other people to learn is it doesn't require anything but your own perseverance and your own consistency and determination, and also making sure that you're building connections and networking and putting your best foot forward and showing your personality.
I like what you said about being your own boss. I think that's a common theme between you and PEMS about the importance of entrepreneurship, the importance of advocating for yourself, your business, your contributions. I love that.
Absolutely.
So your debut album dropped at the beginning of this year in February.
It did. Well, yes, it drops. Yep, it's coming up.
Oh, it's coming up.
It's coming up. Yes. Yeah.
All
Black
right.
History Month.
Of Kings and Queens.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, so this album is going to be a different pace for me. A lot of the things that I've done so far have just been kind of aligned with the music of right now in my age group. I am 26, so I've been being a 26-year-old, but I wanted to show with this album that I also have a very conscious side, and it's not all fun and games. Actually, it's mostly not fun and games with me because I'm very serious about my Blackness. So that was my goal with this album, was to really just put it out there and show people that there's loveliness and balance, and it's fun to turn up, but it's also great to put things into the community and into the air that are positive and uplifting for our people. And so that's my goal with this album, is balance. And I hope people like it. I know it's going to be a different pace. I know that it might shake some tables and it might stir some things up, but some things need to be said. So that's what's going on. That's what's going on.
Well, you get the Informer. Look forward to tapping in. Do you have a date?
Yes. So I'm hoping to release on February 21st. Definitely it will be during Black History Month. That is the entire point of this thing. But I'm hoping to release February 21st. That's my goal.
Okay, awesome. So Black History Month will be tapping back in with you.
Absolutely. And I do have a song dropping from the album. So my single from the album releases on Monday, and it's called Pity the Fool. And I won't say too much, but everybody's been seeing what's been going on in the blogs lately. So it's my take on that.
Okay. And will any of these upcoming songs be performed at Art All Night tonight?
Unfortunately, not this event, because the song is not out yet, and I'm a little nervous. It's a different pace for me. This would be my first time performing something that is this theme in this category of music. So I just want to get in the groove of me performing at my little regular events first before I get to a stage like Art All Night to do it.
Of course. Well, we're excited and rooting for you regardless.
Thank you so much.
My last two questions. For my first one, Letitia, what challenges and opportunities do you see in continuing to support and promote the arts and culture scene in DC, or specifically DC's historically marginalized neighborhoods?
Funding is always going to be top of that list. But we've been doing a great job of cultivating relationships with some of our sponsors. And for the past few years, we've had sponsors such as Washington Gas. This year we brought on Xfinity, Comcast. Some of our developers continue to really see the value of supporting placemaking activities like this. So over the past few years with the impact of COVID, because we are still sometimes, we know we're still feeling some of the effects of COVID, especially when it comes to getting bigger dollars in to support these type of efforts. We have to really look at how do we get creative in finding the funding support. Fortunately, the city gave us a lot more money this year to do this event, because it takes a lot of money to really bring together thousands of people in one venue. And so, and think about it, it's 21 of us doing this. And so raising those types of funds is probably in the thousands of dollars, right? But it's also a revenue making opportunity for the small businesses in these corridors. So that's why the city continues to do this, and we continue to support it along Pennsylvania Avenue. So we're hoping that we can continue to leverage our partnerships, get the funding. And I would just say, for a place like Pennsylvania Avenue, who has historically not had much investment around economic development yet. It is coming, but not quite yet. On a night like tonight, where we don't, we're battling with rain, we now have to split our main stage up to several different smaller venues. So I would say also infrastructure is a challenge, because if we had a big theater here on Pennsylvania Avenue, we probably just would have opted to go there in the first place and not have to deal with rain or shine because we were indoors. So when we know we want to bring about 2,000 to 3,000 people out to a quarter like Pennsylvania Avenue, the only place we do have is really outdoors. And so how do we build those infrastructure pieces in place along the quarter so that we can support the arts as well, and bring in opportunities for not just the arts, but for having community conversations and dialogues like we'll be doing at the DC Dream Center. Thank God we had that venue right there, right? So, but that will only hold about 300 people. So
yeah.
So.
Awesome. And my last question for the both of you: how can local residents or businesses actively participate in the growth and development of the arts and cultural scene in DC east of the river?
I think making venues accessible to artists. I think a lot of the problem becomes with the money and the business aspect of it. And a lot of artists who don't have backing or who don't have a team just generally don't have the money. So there have been a lot of groups, I won't say venues, but there have been a lot of groups putting on these shows, such as Open Gym, Afro So Real. I've had a lot of friends going to these venues and bridging that gap between artists and venues. So I think just being a little bit more open to, if you have a venue that is available to use, just making it more accessible for the artists who maybe don't have the team behind them and the capital to get it.
Thank you. Letitia, what do you think?
Again, I think events like Art All Night are meant to really support the businesses on the corridor. Having more of these types of events will not only support the businesses, but encourage the businesses to participate, right? And the fact that we are really just getting these 2 new restaurants here gave us, again, additional venues to host some of the smaller programming. And so I think one way that, businesses can continue to support is to really think about moving your business east of the river, and maybe even, think about how you could be a part of the small business ecosystem and being a part of our tax base. We have plenty we have space, and it could be some of the most, economical in the city. So just thinking about moving over to east of the river, but also opening for the businesses that are here. Think about how you can think outside of the box and not just have your business there for an open 9 to 5, but think about how you can participate in Art All Night and have an artist in your storefront performing at night, and you got business coming indoors, right? So
yes,
there it is. That's the best. That's how I think Art All Night really can help spark those types of conversations.
Awesome. Well, I am so thankful that you guys were able to join us. It's been a pleasure speaking to you both. This is my first Art All Night, so I am looking forward to popping out and seeing what's going on DC Dream Center, all up in Pennsylvania Avenue. So for our viewers, whether you're just tapping in or have been here the whole time, please don't forget to tap into Kings and Queens, dropping Black History Month next year. And of course, check out what's going on with PEMS. They have a lot of different initiatives that can support your community and other communities east of the river. So thank you guys so much. And for all of our guests, don't forget to make your way to Art All Night. It's going on tonight and tomorrow, 7 p.m. to midnight. You can go near you, or you can expand your horizons and check out Ward 7. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
And back to you, Brenda.
Thank you, Jada. That was so wonderful. That was so fascinating. It was so interesting. I love the fact that the conversation elevated artists as business owners. I think we forget about that. They are business owners. They are entrepreneurs. They need funding. They need to put together a business plan. It's the whole 9 yards. And I'm so happy that when you spoke with Letitia Atkins, who is executive director of the Pennsylvania Avenue East Main Street, that D'Angelo saw her as someone that will counsel her and give her advice in terms of really moving forward with her creative talents in her career. So that was such an informative conversation. Thank you again, Jada. And we look forward to having more contributions from you on Let's Talk.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure, Brenda.
Sure. And I just want to thank our listeners and our viewers today to Let's Talk. We had a lot of good topics today. We heard from Kiana Hargett, who is a licensed financial health coach, who helped us understand the importance of this month, the observance of Life Insurance Wellness Month, because there are a lot of things you need to know and understand about your health insurance policy, what will benefit you the most, as well as your family members. And then we heard from Adam Carlesco, who is the Assistant People's Counsel in the DC office of the People's Counsel. He is overseeing a wonderful program for high school seniors in DC schools that will prepare young people to be advocates for environmental justice. And this was just a wonderful program, and you can still register a high school student for this program. It's going to be October 23rd and the 24th. If you want to go back and check out some of the topics that we covered today, you can go to our YouTube channel at Washington Informer TV, all one word, and you can bring up this episode plus other episodes of Let's Talk, because we're the place that's bringing you important, relevant information for you in the Washington, D.C. area. We'll be back next Friday from 12 noon to 1 o'clock. We already know who one of our guests is going to be. It's going to be Terrance King, who is the president and CEO of the National Children's Center. One of our, it's so important to our community, taking care of our children. And the National Children's Center is going to have a big gala coming up. So you want to hear about that and be supportive of that, because it's for our children and their families. And again, don't forget to pick up the latest edition of Washington Informer, our newspaper. If you didn't get it, you can get to it online, WashingtonInformer.com. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our guests. Thank you to our production team. And we will see you again next Friday when Denise Rolock Barnes, our publisher, will be back to host the show. Have a good week and stay dry.